Welcome back, everyone. It is week 15 of the NFL season, and this is your Sharp Squares podcast with Greg Roth and the ambassador, David Eby. This is Eric Glazer. Last week, we were back to our winning ways. Our Sharps crushed it, 60% against the number. Our medal games were 3-1. Our pick 5 was 4-1, 3-2-1. We went 2-1, 4 of 6 points. Missed that 2-point game. For the season, our Sharps are 53.4%. Our medal games are 63.6%. Pick 5, 55.7%. In 3-2-1, we have won 61.9% of our picks, earning us 58.6% of total points available. That's 49 of 84 points. Incidentally, in the Sharp Squares private Discord community, which you could all join, hit us up at Sharp Squares Podcast on X, and happy to give you access with a special discount throughout the rest of the season of playoffs, so you could see a little bit of the activity and the information. But in our 3-2-1 contest within Discord, our members are killing it. We've got our guy in first place has 62 right now points. We only have 49, Greg and I. We're not joining this contest. We joined another one, but we managed this contest. And so we would be in like 19th out of 80. But Mike has 62 points, and there's a bunch of people over 50, up to 17 places above 50 points. So Sharp Squares community killing it on 3-2-1. All right. You got our records, 90 picks for this week. A bunch of goal games to discuss, to tell you all about them. Everyone's favorite fellow degenerate, the Greg Roth.
Eric, thank you so much. 3-1 medal games last week. This week, there are 5 medal games. 5 medal games, 2 gold, 1 silver, 2 bronze. The gold games, I'm going to give them to you in the order of their rankings. The top rated game on the board this week. The pick, it's the Buffalo Bills. They're -2.5, welcoming the red-hot Dallas Cowboys to Buffalo. Steve Fezzik, AJ Hoffman, Marco D'Angelo, Stuckey, Gil Alexander, Will Brinson, the Favorites Podcast, and Cleve TA all picked Buffalo. None of the Sharps guys decided Dallas was worthy of a selection. The second gold game, for the second week in a row, it could be a franchise-turning event. The pick is the Chicago Bears. They're +3.5. They're traveling to Cleveland to take on the Browns. Ross Tucker, Stuckey, Tommy the Hitman, RJ White, the Favorites Podcast, all picked Chicago. There was dissent on the Browns from Gil Alexander and Will Brinson. There is 1 silver game. The pick, it's the Tennessee Titans. They're -2.5 at home, welcoming the Houston Texans off a inspiring comeback on Monday night versus the Dolphins. Steve Fezzik, Will Brinson, Favorites Podcast, and Cleve TA all picked Tennessee. Nobody picked Houston. 2 bronze games. The top-rated bronze game, also a red-hot team. The pick, the New York Giants. They're finally, I could be excited about taking the Giants 1 week. They're +5.5. They're at the New Orleans Saints. Scott Seidenberg, Ross Tucker, Chris Raybon, and RJ White all picked New York. Adam Chernoff, in dissent, did pick the Saints. The second bronze game, the pick, the Minnesota Vikings. They're +3.5. They're traveling to Cincinnati to take on the Bengals. Chris Raybon, Rob Pizzola, Tommy the Hitman, and Cleve TA all picked Minnesota. There was notable dissent on this game on the Bengals from Scott Seidenberg, Gil Alexander, and the Whale Cappers. So, gentlemen, our picks for pick 5, there's 5 medal games. Very easy. 5 medal games. That's your pick 5. To recap, Bills -2.5, Bears +3.5, both gold. Titans -2.5, silver. Giants +5.5, Vikings +3.5, bronze. That's your pick 5. Shifting over to 3-2-1, not to complicate it, as everybody knows, we have different lines in 3-2 in the 3-2-1 pool than we do in the pick 5 pool. This week, there's very little line difference, but there was one game that jumped all the other medal games, which was the Detroit Lions. Why? Let me tell you why. In 3-2-1, they're -4.5. In DraftKings, they're -5.5. So in DraftKings, they didn't make the cut as a medal game, but in 3-2-1 at -4.5, they actually have gold status. Let me set that game up for you. The Lions, they're at home. They're -4.5 hosting the Denver Broncos. Steve Fezzik, AJ Hoffman, Scott Seidenberg, Stuckey, Rob Pizzola, Gil Alexander, Adam Chernoff, Cleve TA all picked Detroit. There was dissent on the Broncos from Ross Tucker. So just to recap the 3-2-1, the Bills stay at the top as a 3-point game at -2.5. The Bears stay at the second highest rated game at 2 at +3.5. The Lions jump the Titans, Vikings, and Giants to get the 1-point game at -4.5. So if that's all you were looking for, you are now dismissed. If you want to stick around for some trends and some handicapping highlights, here we go. Since the start of last season, backup QBs are 88, 69, and 5. That's 56% against the spread. That's from Evan Abrams of the Action Network. By the way, guys, an astounding 82 different NFL QBs have started a game since the beginning of last season. Just 18 of the 82, just 18, that's 22%, are at least 2 games above 500. Road teams in Saturday NFL games, there are 3 Saturday NFL games tomorrow, are 62, 38, and 5. That's 62% against the spread. Those teams, so who are the Saturday road teams? The Vikings +3.5 at the Bengals. That's bodes well for our bronze game. The Steelers +2.5 at the Colts, and the Broncos +5.5 at the Lions. That doesn't help us since the Lions are a 1-point game. That trend courtesy of Bet Labs. Also from Bet Labs, since 2012, good teams, and they're defining a good team as one that has won 75% or more of its games, that are underdogs. So you won 75% of your games. Now you're an underdog. It's December and January. What happens? They're 15 and 27. That's 36% against the spread. That helps us for our top rated game. That means fade the Cowboys and take the Bills. Cowboys, of course, 10 and 3. I'm not the mathematician, but that's over 75%. Guys, I'm exhausted from doing 2 segments all by myself. I'm going to need some help for these handicapping highlights. I'm going to call in the ambassador, Dave Eby.
Thank you, Greg. We'll start from the start. Game number 1, Cowboys at Bills, -2.5. That is the pick. Bills, -2.5. And because of the overwhelming reception we got for our musical theme last week,
For your singing. It wasn't our musical theme. It was really your singing. And you're good. You're good. I mean,
I don't like
America's,
to take all the credit. There's no I in Sharp Squares podcast.
We should send this segment to America's Got Talent.
We should, but only after we add this part that I'm about to perform right now. So here we go. The theme for the Cowboys at the Bills. Jingle bells, Dallas smells when playing on the road. The Sharps all think the Cowboys stink, especially when it's cold.
Hey.
Thank you again. I'll be here for 1 more week.
Wow.
Yeah, that's incredible, I think you might say. Anyway, here we go.
No artificial, by the way, the audience should know there's no artificial
No auto-tuning whatsoever.
That is natural talent.
That was natural a cappella without auto-tune. Okay, Cleve TA reminds us that Dallas lost to Arizona on the road this year by double digits, and now they have to play Buffalo on the road in the cold, just like our theme talked about. Stuckey thinks that Dallas playing on the road in Buffalo in the cold is going to be the difference maker in the game. So do we. Fezzik's power ratings make this game a pick'em, but he's still backing the Bills given the spot for Buffalo and the weather. It's going to be cold. You see a theme developing here? And finally, AJ Hoffman says that Dallas has been phenomenal the past few weeks, but they are way better at home versus on the road and in the cold. Dak played one game last year in weather under 40 degrees, and his stat line, 128 passing yards, 37% completion rate, and a 15.9 QBR. I don't know much, but I know that's not good. Timestamps, 3 in preview, 49:32, Action Network, 23:04, and CBS Pick 6, 53 minutes on the dot.
The second goal game, the Bears, +3.5. Their goal for the second week in a row, traveling to Cleveland to take on the Browns. These notes courtesy of Chris Deester. The theme, Cleveland's defense is banged up and Chicago offense is busting. I'm too old to know what that means, but it sounds good. From Stuckey and the Action Network, it points out that Cleveland is banged up on both sides of the ball, and these injuries will add up. He adds that Cleveland struggles to cover mobile QBs, and Fields obviously is the top of the mobile QB class. Ross Tucker from Even Money says the Bears defense is playing well, and Fields to DJ Moore is working well on offense. Tommy the Hitman from Forward Progress also points out that Cleveland is hurting on offense since they have lost 3 offensive linemen this season. RJ White, CBS Pick 6, he actually believes the Bears are a better team here with Flacco at QB. For Cleveland, Chicago's offense is healthy again. The defense is playing inspired, and the Cleveland defense can be run on. There was dissent from Will Brinson, CBS Pick 6. He believes that Joe Flacco gives Cleveland competent QB play to a team that desperately needed it, and this could be a comeback to earth spot for the Bears, who have been playing out of their minds. I love the playing out of their minds. Timestamps, Even Money, 15 minutes, 15 seconds. Action Network, 31 minutes, 29 seconds. Forward Progress, 31 minutes, 35 seconds. And CBS Pick 6, 42 minutes even. Last week, we only did the 2 gold games, Dave, because both of us gave all we could with Eric traveling. But this week, we have another special guest who just walked into the studio to give you a bonus third handicapping game. And the reason he's doing it, of course, is because he loves the Tennessee Titans and they are the silver pick. Welcome, Professor.
Thank you, guys. I feel reinvigorated after Monday night's victory, I must say. Sorry it happened to be against your home team. The third game is the Texans at the Titans, -2.5 towards the Titans. Thanks to Patrick McQuillan for this highlight. It is the pick Titans -2.5. I love to hear that. We've got the themes here. Houston, we have a problem because there is going to be no CJ Stroud. Right now he's doubtful, but looking like it's going to be Davis Mills on Sunday. The handicaps, Fezzik from the Dream Preview says that Houston is downgraded 5 points for CJ Stroud being out and another point for their skill position injuries. Will Brinson says that Houston, without their offensive weapons, is actually a bad team. Simon Hunter from the Favorites podcast says that DeAndre Hopkins should have a good game for the Titans. I'll also remind you on a side note that he's going to be going up against his former team, so I'm sure he'll want to show out on Sunday. And of course, he's had that great connection with Will Levis. Simon also believes that if Stroud is out, this should move more to 3 or 3.5 points. And then we heard from Cleve TA, who highlighted that you could do a lot worse than Davis Mills to spot start, but he has 0 weapons to take advantage of a poor Titans pass defense. There was no dissent on this game. Timestamps, Dream Preview, 1 hour, 27 minutes, and 3 seconds. CBS Pick 6, 36 minutes, 35 seconds. And the Favorites podcast, 29 minutes and 40 seconds.
Thank you, Professor. Thank you, Ambassador. Thank you to the entire production team. We did all we could for you, Eric. We're going to pass it back to you.
Really big week this week. It's coming down to the wire and all over our pools to see if we can slip into the money. Just a reminder, none of us are truly sharp. But this is your Sharp Squares podcast.
Good luck out there.